Winners and losers emerge from the keen political contest held across the nation's electoral divide on Saturday, with elections declared inconclusive in some constituencies. On security matters, vandals pulled down electricity tower along Jos-Bauchi transmission line. Plus, we'll bring you update from the world of sports and more. This is Panorama. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ruth Aguele. Welcome. We'll begin with electoral matters. The 39 rerun and 9 by-elections have been largely concluded, with results announced by INEC, except for Akwa Ibom, Enugu and Kano states, where elections in some polling units were suspended due to disruptions, abduction of election officials, and alleged pre-filling of result sheets. During an interagency consultative meeting on election security that was held on 23rd of January 2024 at INEC headquarters Abuja, the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, expressed concerns about security challenges and electoral violence.
The conduct of isolated elections, such as by-elections and rerun elections, can be very challenging. A rerun election conducted in one polling unit or a handful of polling units can severely be disrupted by acts of thuggery, knowing fully well that these few locations will determine the outcome of the election. What many people do not realize is that there is no election season in Nigeria any longer. Elections are held throughout the year between one general election and another, and this adds to the enormous pressure on both INEC and the security agencies.
However, following the conclusion of the elections in 23 out of the 26 states, some candidates commended the process.
Everybody stand for his party. Therefore, there is no any other problem in the election.
INEC was on time. Was here on time. They arrived with materials on time.
No stress. I only vote for my choice.
To a larger extent, elections went on very well in 5 local governments. In Kunchi, we had a problem, and you were there with us. Clearly, there was no election in Kunchi. Thugs disrupted the process.
We just come across these political talks, and the way they display themselves on this location is that we believe they are laying ambush for INEC officials as well as other people coming or going there to vote. So we are not going to leave them.
In respect of the suspended election, INEC is yet to make further statement on what next. And let's expand the discuss. We have in the studio to discuss the outcomes of the fallout of the last Saturday's off-cycle and by-elections. Let's make welcome Mr. Chris Aguele of the Flag Foundation. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right, we've seen the elections, talking about the rerun and by-elections. We've seen winners and losers emerge. But from your assessment and going by what the INEC chairman has, his concerns about security issues and, of course, disruptions that, well, should I say, foresaw, what are your assessments?
Yeah, well, the elections, the by-elections are ongoing. It has not been concluded in some areas. Like every other election, it's a misgrill of some sort. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The question is, why should these elections be like this? Like the INEC chairman complained, you can see this whole thing he complained about the challenges playing out continuously like that. So, what's the solution? There must be a change of attitude. There must be, amendment of the laws. But first and foremost, the average Nigerian voter must understand the voting process. The stakeholders, the political parties and their agents and their subsidiaries, the election management body, INEC itself, the security agencies. We must begin to interrogate why our elections are like this. Those who are the direct benefactors of the election, the politicians themselves. And then, of course, what is the motive behind them, why they go out of the laid down rules, guidelines, and laws guiding the election activities. These are the things we should be talking about going forward. Because the way it is, it will be a continuous, perennial problem that will continue to recycle itself in not so unpleasant and in an appropriate way, none. So we have to begin to talk about changes in human character, human behavior and conduct, changes in the laws, and then enforcement of the laws, and later for those that go contrary to the laid down rules for an election.
Right.
In the next election cycle, it's also going to be the same thing. You know,
Mr. Aguele, I don't want us to be pessimistic, even though we're, aware of the challenges that confront the nation whenever there's election like this. But how would you judge INEC's performance going by the logistics, administration of processes, and result collation? Even though results have been announced, we're just expecting what will be for the remaining 3 states, talking about Enugu, Kano, and Akwa Ibom. But what is your assessment of INEC's performance? Well,
my assessment, you are just putting me on the spot, because you had those who said election went on freely. You've also seen those active participants who are complaining of one thing or another. And then it becomes like a 50-50 thing. I'm not being pessimistic. I'm always an optimist. You know, by what I do, I devote my time and resources and attention in observation of elections. And I do that with all amount of commitment, with one thing in mind, that patriotic drive to bring about a sustainable, meaningful, visionary change. And so elections is everything you can think about in leadership. If we don't get the elections right, we can't get anything right. But here we are. There is an opportunity. For whosoever, the losers, I implore them to be patient, try again. For the winners, I implore them to be magnanimous in victory, and then begin to look beyond the self in them and look at the future of the nation, the future generation. What sort of elections are we going to have? I mean, if I'm a politician, chances are high that I may also play like them. That's just the truth. But the moment we dissolve the self in us and become more humane in our praise, become more of nationalists, become more of patriots in things guiding elections, in things that borders about leadership of the nation, Nigeria, considering the state of our nation today, it's a time for us to do an inward changes in us individually and collectively, so that we can have a better election going forward.
Yes, it's a collective process if our democracy must thrive. But there have been allegations, Mr. Aguele, especially for Enugu, where we saw election officials with pre-filled materials. We saw that play out during the Kogi elections. And, of course, other irregularities that the people were not concerned. Anytime there's electoral violence, there's always one link to the the election officials.
Yes.
What do you make out of that?
Something happened in Jos, and INEC quickly suspended that electoral officer. That is spontaneous, instant action. So those found culpable, there's no way that if you investigate, you must know the gap from where whatever it leaked, and let bear a deterrent to the victim, whoever that yielded to that. Let him or her be severely punished and dealt with, that will deter others in the next election. That's the solution. Those found wanting must be dealt with instantaneously, and there's no better way to do it other than what happened in Jos, in Plateau State. I mean, yes, in Plateau State yesterday. The INEC swiftly,
on Saturday, you mean?
Yeah, on Saturday, swiftly suspended the guy, and then next day they should investigate him. If he's found culpable, let him be prosecuted and punished in accordance with the law.
No, that's where the security operatives, come in. And every time there's election like this, we get to see reports and commitment, even demonstration of their commitment, to ensure that nothing goes wrong. What really is the problem?
What really
is the problem? Why do we always fall back to
the
what
problem
we're
is the
trying to
Nigerian
avoid?
problem. That maybe Nigeria don't happen to us. We are the Nigerians we're talking about. We are the problems. We are the problems. This willingness to disobey the laws, and because there will be no consequences. The laws, why do we put in the laws there? The issue is that the laws must be enforced, but those that are enforcing the law must be up and I saw there was a clip going around. They said that DPO, I don't know how true that is. That's the DPO that's supposed to enforce the law, probably in that local government. It was being accused. I don't know what transpired, but I saw a clip of somebody, a police officer, with a ballot box. As an election observer, I wonder what would have warranted that extent. What is expected to do by law is to protect the INEC staff. And then if there's need to move the voting unit from that point to another place, okay, ensure there is law and order. Ensure that people who are fomenting trouble are dealt with and whisked away from the voting thing, because a voting place is a sacred place. It's not a marketplace. It's not a jamboree, as they make it to be. It's not a trading post, as the money says, change hands. It's look, I restrain myself from speaking out what my experiences in the field of election as an election observer. I get deployed into, I enjoy, observing elections, and my own personal life experiences is not what you can air. So there should be a change of attitude from the political class, and then the agents, and even voters themselves, the security agents, including INEC staff. In fact, everybody is guilty and charged. It's like a case of pot and kettle.
Mr. Chris Aguele, let's leave the conversation there. At least we know that investigation is ongoing, so we want to see and hear what INEC will come up with. Thank you so much for your insight on Panorama this morning. Mr. Chris Aguele is of the Flag Foundation. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank God that the flag is flying high in Côte d'Ivoire. More grace to our
At least there are other positive news to be
oh, yes,
happy
of course,
about.
yes. The flag is flying high in Côte d'Ivoire. Because of our super
Let's look at the political scene, but not from Nigeria this time around. The Commission of Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has expressed concern over the circumstances that led to the postponement of the presidential elections in Senegal, scheduled for 25th February 2024. It is appealing to authorities concerned to expedite action on various processes to set a new date for the elections. The Commission urges the entire political class to prioritize dialogue and collaborate for transparency, inclusiveness, and hold credible elections. President Macky Sall was applauded by the Commission for upholding his earlier decision not to run for another term, thereby protecting Senegal's long-standing democratic tradition. All right, let's go on a break. We're back shortly. Stay tuned.
The counsel of our fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
I believe we have fought one civil war too many in this country. So those who experience it will run away from it.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
Welcome back. The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, says Its tower along the Jos Bauchi line has been vandalized, resulting to another power outage in Yobe and Borno states. Now, this follows a line trip in Jos Plateau State, where investigation uncovers remnants of detonated explosives that brought down the tower by vandals. TCN says it has mobilized contractor to quickly commence reconstruction of the affected line and tower. A similar incident in December last year brought down towers along Gombe-Damaturu line, killing a security operative and disrupted power supply in Yobe and Borno states, but were reconstructed and energized. To other issues, training senior naval officers and their contemporaries in other services as operational level commanders to make sound decisions in the application of maritime force has been identified as a way to tackle insecurity in the nation. Flag Officer Commanding Eastern Naval Command, Rear Admiral Olushola Oluwagbire, who said this at the inauguration ceremony and inaugural lecture of Naval Warfare Course 8 tax participants on improved joint military operations to counter attacks. Let's hear from Udwak Etim.
College Nigeria is a military training institution with a vision to be a center of excellence on naval joint military operations and maritime security studies in the sub-region. The college, since its establishment in 2017, has recorded modest achievements as witnessed in the inauguration ceremony and inaugural lecture of the Naval Warfare Course 8, with 24 senior officers from the Nigerian Navy, Nigerian Army, and Nigerian Air Force participating. Flag Officer Commanding Eastern Naval Command and Commandant Naval War College Nigeria say Naval Warfare Course is to equip participants with skills needed to critically analyze complex security situations.
If they know the ingredients of command, like was brought out today, foresight, risk-taking, competence, integrity, and all that, if they are enhancing those qualities and they are better trained, definitely they will be able to better ensure security of the maritime space.
The college remains poised to producing military strategists, operational planners and warfighters who can compete effectively with their contemporaries globally.
Speaking in line with the theme of the lecture, Operational Level Naval Warfare, Imperatives for Training and Command in the Nigerian Navy, guest speaker highlighted levels of warfare, spectrum of operations, and imperative for operational level warfare training in the Naval War College Nigeria, while making recommendations for enhanced maritime security. During interactive session, participants were advised to apply skills to facilitate cooperation among multi-agencies for successful operations. In Calabar, Udwak Etam, NTA News.
The last few years have witnessed a considerable closing of the gender gap in the engineering profession following advocacy by the leadership of the Association of Professional Women Engineers of Nigeria, that is APWEN. Now, taking this bold step further in a way that encourages more females to embrace the profession is one of the tasks before Dr. Adebisi Oshin, who takes over as the 18th president of APWEN at an investiture ceremony in Abuja. Let's hear from Calvin Ehunwai.
Dr. Adebisi Oshin comes into her new role prepared. Having served APWEN at different levels and committees, she has her job clearly spelled out, not only to build on the successes recorded by her predecessor, but to introduce a more creative and innovative way to advance many of the programs like STEM initiatives across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country and supporting female engineers in careers and personal development.
Collective strength will drive us to new heights. My journey is one that promises growth, collaboration, and lasting impact.
With the support and collaboration from the parent engineering body, NSE, and government agencies, the new APWEN leadership is setting its sights on positive trajectory.
As the first woman to lead the NSE, I recognize the significance of this moment, and it is only fitting that my inaugural event is one that celebrates the extraordinary accomplishments of APWEN.
The investiture drew top female engineers from across the country, including those in government, industries and the academia, to the ICC to lend their support and witness the birth of a new era for APWIN. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewunwaye, NTA News.
State government has set up a committee to assess the level of damage recently done by fire at the Gusau Central Market and the traders affected for urgent intervention. The governor stated this when he paid a sympathy visit to the market. Jamilu Ibrahim reports.
The fire had on Tuesday night razed some shops at the furniture section of Gusau Central Market, resulting to loss of a life and property worth millions of naira. This prompted Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal to visit the scene with a view to commiserating with the victims. Governor Lawal, who was conducted around the affected shops, expressed shock over the incident, describing it as an act of Allah. He particularly condoled with families and relations of one of the traders who lost his life to the inferno and prayed Allah to grant him eternal rest. The governor announced the formation of a committee to assess the level of damage done by the inferno and those affected for possible intervention. Earlier, the State Commissioner for Commerce and Industry, Abdurrahman Muhammad Tumbidu, informed the governor that the prompt intervention of the fire servicemen had assisted greatly in preventing the fire from escalation. He also said adequate security measures were provided to prevent hoodlums from taking undue advantage of the incident. Chairman Gusau Central Market Traders Association, Alhaji Bashir Memanja, thanked the governor for the concern and his ardent commitment to revive commercial activities in Zamfara State. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu heartily congratulates the governor of Kwara State and chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum, Abdurrahman Abdurrazak, on his birthday, which is today. A statement by presidential spokesman Ajuri Ingilali indicates that President Tinubu celebrates the thoroughbred, professional and Spartan politician whose historic ascendancy to the office of the executive governor has brought sweeping changes to the political trajectory of the state. President Tinubu also commends the governor for his discipline and candor, which have bolstered his popularity among the people and broadened the acceptability of progressivism in the state. Next is sports update.